Good afternoon. Please be seated. I'd like to welcome all of you to our Transition Center graduation. I'm so happy that we can be here in our new Cedar Rapids Community School District Educational Leadership and Service Center. It's just a grand time to be here, and I'm so happy that we were able to use this space today. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce a few people who are here, who are special guests. Dr. David Benson, our Superintendent of Schools. Dr. Gary O'Malley, our Deputy Superintendent of Schools. Sheila Lehman, our Executive Director of Special Services. I'd also like to recognize some of our community partners. I believe we have a few of our employers here today. Would you please stand and be recognized? Oh, I know you're here. Later on, as I read the graduation speeches, you'll understand why these are very important partners as you hear about the opportunities our students have had to work in our community. I'd also like to recognize some people from the ELS who are here with us today. So if you're a member of the staff here at the ELS, would you also stand and be recognized? Come on. It's because of the hard work of the people that I have just introduced to you that the students that you see sitting before us have had wonderful experiences starting from the time they were in elementary school all the way up to today. And so you're a very important part of our ceremony. As I said, Dr. Benson is here with us today, and he'd like to offer a few remarks. Dr. Benson?
Okay. You got to be smarter than the equipment. On behalf of the Board of Education, the faculty and staff of the entire school district, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you this afternoon to this Transition Center graduation. This graduation represents a lot of hard work on behalf of the graduates, but also on behalf of the parents, relatives, and others that are assembled here to honor these graduates with your presence. I too would like to welcome you to the ELSC, the Education Leadership and Support Center. This is our flood recovery project, as we had numerous facilities damaged in the '08 flood, and we hope, it is our belief, that this facility will serve the community for the next 100 years. And we hope that that is the case, and that our successors will gather here in events like this and have further celebrations. You know, graduation's a wonderful time of year for me. I get to make remarks tonight and the next 2 nights, 3 in total, at our comprehensive high school graduations. And I'm so pleased to see that our students are getting their high school diplomas here as they graduate from the Transition Center. That and the first day of school are my treats for doing the job. As I always go to some elementary schools and see the little ones coming in, and that is also one of my favorite days. So this is a big day for me. It's a big day for the graduates. They join a long line of graduates from Cedar Rapids School District that extend back 158 years. So Cedar Rapids has been an educational entity and has been producing graduates for a long, long time. My message is very simple. You know, I'm a kind of a popular culture kind of person. I like to keep up, and There's a gentleman who produced a song a few years ago, Garth Brooks, and the song was The Dance. How many of you know the dance? Okay. The main message of the song is essentially that the future's promised to no one. The rich, the poor, the short, the tall. Everybody has a future. And while it is prudent to plan for the future, we do not want to live in the future. Every day is important, and no one understands that more than parents who are raising special needs children. It is wonderful to live in the moment, to understand the love and the kindness that exists within the hearts and minds of these fine young people. Our faculty and staff do a great job every day of working with these young people, and it is our privilege. And we thank you for entrusting your precious child to us. And we hope that you have enjoyed the dance over these last few years of their educational experience. And you look forward to it. You know, Neil Armstrong said when he landed on the moon, it's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Well, in reality, high school graduation, the rite of passage from childhood to adulthood, is that giant step that we all take in our lives as we move from birth through childhood, through adolescence, to adulthood. So we're here to make this celebration, and I'm sure you're going to hear some great remarks about these fine young students, young adults as they go forward. It is my privilege and pleasure to congratulate these graduates, wish them well. On behalf of all of us in Cedar Rapids Schools, thank you for the work that you've done, and thank everybody here for entrusting us with your child. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Kind of in my haste to get things started, because this is such a great day, I forgot to introduce one really special group of people. I wish I could introduce every parent to you, but I can introduce the Transition Center staff to you. So would the Transition Center staff please stand up and be recognized? And I suppose while I'm introducing, I should probably have introduced myself. I'm Cindy Donaldson. I'm an Associate Director of Special Services, and one of the, I was going to say the best thing I do, but I can't say that because other people would not be happy with me. But one of the responsibilities I have is to provide administrative support to the people at the Transition Center, and it is a great, great thing to do. Okay, if you've never been to a Transition Center graduation, we're a little different than the three big schools. Kevin and Lindsay, our teachers, have written very individualized words about your graduates. I'm given the responsibility of reading those and not flubbing up too badly. We'll have individual remarks for each student. They'll stand and be recognized. After all of those remarks are read, we have a PowerPoint presentation, just some fun pictures to share with you, and then we'll ask you to stay with us and have some refreshments. So, graduates, are we ready? Okie doke. All right. Our first graduate is Lavelle Collins. Before coming to Cedar Rapids, Lavelle lived in Chicago. There he attended Parker Community Academy. According to Lavelle, Chicago wasn't the safest place to go to school. He'd visited family in Cedar Rapids before, and then Lavelle and his family decided to move here. He attended Roosevelt Middle School. After completing middle school, he was ready to accept the challenge of high school. With that, Lavelle became a Jefferson Jayhawk. He's been a member of the Transition Center for the last 2 years. Lavelle has become the ambassador for our program. The philosophy of the Transition Center is, whenever you develop a new work site or business partnership, we always put our best foot forward. In other words, you place one of your strongest students there in order to impress the employer. More often than not, this student was Lavelle. DPI Industries is a business that finishes wood trim and doors for homes. There, Lavelle spent time doing some cleanup and stocking tasks. At St. Luke's Hospital, he worked in the laundry area packaging isolation gowns. Last fall, Lavelle completed a Goodwill work evaluation. The purpose of this evaluation is to assess work skills and generate career interest. It was through this that Lavelle discovered that he had a knack for working with the elderly. Keystone Cedar's assisted living community was looking for someone to serve coffee and assist with bussing tables. Lavelle was the perfect fit. The residents love him. They call him Coffee Boy or Mr. Coffee. In his free time, Lavelle enjoys listening to music and texting his friends. He takes occasional trips back to Chicago to visit family and helps with holiday dinners. During his time at Jefferson and the Transition Center, Lavelle has always participated in Special Olympics. He's received numerous awards for bowling and track and field events. After graduation, Lavelle will continue to live with his grandmother. He will also continue working at Keystone Cedars, serving coffee to the residents. Lavelle, it's been a pleasure. You have grown so much during this time at the Transition Center. Good luck, and be sure to visit us. Our next graduate is Alex David. Alex began his school career attending Coolidge Elementary. From there, it was off to Van Buren Elementary. He finished his grade school at Jackson Elementary. Ready for middle school, Alex attended Harding. Then it was off to Kennedy to become a loyal Cougar. Alex has been a member of the Transition Center for the last 3 years. Alex has had a variety of work experiences while at the Transition Center. At D Electronics, he bagged parts for shipment. The Clearinghouse is a business that promotes drug, alcohol, and tobacco prevention. Alex's duties there were to prepare materials for distribution. Gordon's department store needed help with unpackaging goods and tagging them to be placed on the sales floor. Of course, Alex did a wonderful job with this. At HAYCAP, Alex packaged food for the needy. During this last year, Alex completed a Goodwill work evaluation. The purpose of the evaluation was to evaluate his work skills and productivity. Alex loves to be on the go. In his free time, he loves going to the YMCA to work out. He also enjoys reading. In fact, he goes to the Marion Library weekly. Alex is also a big fan of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Don't be surprised if you see him on the show someday, or better yet, hosting it. We all know how much he loves to ask questions. Alex loves Special Olympics, especially bowling. He's an excellent bowler. Alex also participates in track and field events. After graduation, Alex will participate in the Systems Unlimited community-based day hub program. When a position opens up at Goodwill Industries, he will likely go to work there. Alex, we've really enjoyed your time at the Transition Center. You've come a long way during your time with us. 3 years ago, you would have never considered riding the city bus by yourself. Now you do it all the time. Good luck in the future. We will miss you. Matt Dudley. Matt started his schooling by attending Wright Elementary in Cedar Rapids. He then spent a short time at Kenwood Elementary before moving to Anamosa, where he enrolled at Strawberry Hill Middle School. With middle school complete, he enrolled at Monticello High School before packing his bags and moving back to Cedar Rapids. Ready for high school, Matt's next stop would be Kennedy High School to become a Cougar. Matt has been at the Transition Center for the last 2 years. Matt has some very diverse work skills. As a result, he's experienced many of our work sites during his tenure here. At D Electronics, he packaged parts for shipment. We used to shred paper at Altorfer Industries. The staff could always count on Matt to do a great job. At Iowa Fitness Center, Matt was in charge of cleaning the workout machines and bathrooms. He also vacuumed the carpets regularly. The place was always spotless when he left for the day. The clearinghouse always needed someone who could count accurately and work at a steady pace. Matt was the man. Occasionally, the Transition Center would need someone to fill in at the Clarion Hotel cleaning a room. Whenever we needed a sub, Matt was always eager to help us out. At United Fire, Matt assisted with purging files and preparing them for recycling. Matt also worked at the Salvation Army. There he assisted with cleanup after meals were served. If talking on your cell phone is considered a hobby, then this is Matt's. If he's not talking on one, he's texting. In fact, most of the rules regarding cell phone usage at school were implemented because of Matt. He also enjoys using social media. The district blocked Facebook on its district computers. That didn't sit well with Matt. He still thinks the Transition Center staff had something to do with it. Matt is very much a people person. He loves to ride the city bus all over town to hook up his friends going to the Ark. Matt has participated in Special Olympics for years. While at the Transition Center, he has won numerous ribbons and medals for bowling and track and field events. If they ever make texting an Olympic event, Matt will likely be a gold medalist. After graduation, Matt will split his time between options of Lynn County and the ARC Dayhab program. Matt has visited several group homes and is looking to move into one in the future. Matt, it's been a great 2 years. There were times you wanted to wring our necks, but you didn't. Remember, make good choices and follow the rules. It's for your own safety. Good luck and take care.
I will. Don't worry about it. And you will keep.
Christopher Muters. Chris began his schooling in Waterloo, where he attended Castle Hill Preschool. At the age of 5, he moved to Cedar Rapids, where he enrolled at Garfield Elementary. With primary grades completed, he then attended Franklin Middle School. Following in the steps of his brothers and sisters, he attended Washington High School. Chris has been a student at the Transition Center for the last 2 years. It didn't take long for the staff at the Transition Center to figure out if they ever needed a task completed that involved assembly. Chris was the person for the job. World Class Industries assembles products for John Deere. One of the products they needed to be assembled is a rubber bushing piece that holds the GPS unit in the cab of the tractors. I have no idea what that means. World Class Industries needs hundreds of these a week. Chris has become a master at this. Chris can assemble over 300 in 45 minutes. That's faster than any of their staff can do the work. Hy-Vee needed their weekly ad signs taken down and removed from the plastic sleeves. Chris is a pro at this task as well. The Department of Human Services is always looking for volunteers to assist with clerical tasks. Chris was a first responder for them. Do you know anyone who has had a baby recently? If so, they probably received a Clifford the Big Red Dog book and a packet of materials from the hospital. Chances are Chris prepared this for them. Every year about this time, you start hearing about the Freedom Festival celebration. Have you seen the buttons for sale at your local Casey's convenience store? Chris packaged those for you. Occasionally, the Transition Center needed some shredding completed, and when we did, we called on Chris. When Chris has a free evening, he's often found at a Rough Riders hockey game. He's a big fan. He also enjoys the computer. YouTube is one of his favorite websites. One of his favorite television shows is The Family Guy. We think he only gets to watch it when Mom and Dad are out of town. Chris has been a longtime participant at Special Olympics. While at the Transition Center, he's participated in bowling and track and field. Every year, he runs the 50 meter, like he's a shot out of a cannon in practice. But that's practice. At the district meet, he kind of chokes up. We haven't figured this one out yet. After graduation, Chris will live at home. He's looking forward to moving into a group home in the future, and he will attend the ARC Day Hab program. Chris, we are really going to miss you and your sense of humor. Good luck and take care. Jeff Perkins. Jeff started his schooling at Coolidge Elementary. After Coolidge, Jeff enrolled at Kenwood Elementary and finished his primary grades there. As ready as anyone can be for middle school, he attended Harding. Fortunate to have survived middle school, Jeff's next stop would be Kennedy High School. That worked out pretty well since Mom teaches there. Jeff has been at the Transition Center for the last 2 years. Jeff has never been one that likes a lot of change in his life. When he finds a job he likes, he would just as soon keep doing that job. As a result, most of this year was spent working at Benchmark Industries and Quiznos Restaurant. At Benchmark, Jeff was in charge of collecting the excess paper at each office cubicle. This task provided great opportunities for Jeff to interact with the Benchmark staff. At Quiznos, Jeff would wipe tables, refill the chips, straws, and napkins. Although vacuuming isn't one of Jeff's favorite tasks, he's pretty good at it. As a result, he worked at Iowa Fitness for a time, and he always loved working at United Fire. Not so much the work, but the fact that it was quiet and had few distractions. Grantwood AEA was also a favorite work site for Jeff. At Grantwood, Jeff's responsibilities included packaging science equipment to be delivered to various schools in the AEA. The Department of Human Services is always in need of volunteers to assist with a variety of clerical tasks. Jeff was always up to the challenge. Jeff is just an easygoing kind of guy. He's not a big fan of large groups and lots of noise. In his free time, you'll often find him relaxing with a puzzle or listening to music. Jeff enjoys traveling with his family. He recently returned from a trip to St. Louis. He also looks forward to spending time with his brothers when they come home from college. Jeff has participated in Special Olympics during his time at the Transition Center. Being with friends is probably more important than the competition for Jeff, so you won't see him get real excited if he wins. Jeff and his family have visited group homes in the area. At some point when the time is right, Jeff will explore this possibility. After graduation, he will attend the ARC Day Rehab program. Jeff, it's been a great 2 years. We hope you've enjoyed your time here as much as we have enjoyed you. The next phase in your life will be new and different for you, and we know that change isn't always easy for you. It will be okay. We will miss you. Our next graduate is Ellie Cedar. It might be easier to name the elementary schools that Ellie didn't attend early in her schooling. She started preschool at Grant Elementary. From there, she enrolled at Coolidge Elementary. Ready for primary grades, she attended Harrison, Van Buren, Madison, and Truman. Middle school was next. The good news is she only went to one, and that was Roosevelt. From there, it was off to high school where she attended Kennedy. Ellie has been at the Transition Center for 3 years. When you've been a student at the Transition Center for 3 years, the good news is that you get to experience a variety of work settings and tasks. The bad news is that everyone expects you to remember all the tasks and do a superb job. Well, Ellie didn't disappoint us. If staff ever needed a reminder about what time to catch a bus, to do so-and-so, or who to talk to at work sites, all you had to do was ask Ellie. She could tell you. Now, we are not sure what her room looks like at home, but when she finished cleaning at the Clarion Hotel, the room was spotless. Alan, don't let her tell you she can't make her bed. At the Clarion, you can bounce quarters off the bed when she is finished. At D Electronics, Ellie is fantastic. She never makes a mistake and even catches the errors made by others. The clearinghouse requires a person with accurate counting skills. Ellie filled that need for us. The Salvation Army serves lunch to the needy each afternoon. Ellie was a team leader helping with cleanup duties afterwards. At times, a fellow classmate might be absent. Consequently, we would need someone to fill in for them. More often than not, it was Ellie who would fill in for us. Did we tell you Ellie's a big fan of Elvis? She even made herself a fried peanut butter and banana sandwich one day for lunch, and that's Elvis's favorite. Occasionally, she'll come down with a fever. Have you heard of Bieber fever? Yes, she's a big fan of Justin Bieber's. Ellie has participated in Special Olympics over the years, usually because we made her. Admit it, Ellie, once you got there, you had fun. After graduation, Ellie will go to work for Goodwill Industries. You never know, you might see her on a television commercial on the side of a delivery truck one day. She will also attend To the Rescue Day Rehab program a few hours a week. Ellie, it's been a great ride. We hope you enjoyed us as much as we have enjoyed you. Work hard at Goodwill. They are getting a very special lady. L.B. White. L.B. started his schooling by enrolling at Monroe Elementary in the preschool program. Once he finished at Monroe, he attended the early child program at Wright Elementary. From there, it was off to Kenwood Elementary to complete his elementary grades. With middle school on the horizon, he entered McKinley. He later went to Franklin. High school was next, at which point L.B. wore the red and blue of Washington High School. L.B. has been a student at the Transition Center for the past 2 years. L.B. has worked at a variety of businesses during his time here. Some were a little more successful than others. At Altorfer Machinery, he used to shred paper. That is until he started jamming the shredder with paper. He took an involuntary leave of absence. At United Fire, he was in charge of purging files. Elby did a wonderful job there. Hy-Vee has a new ad come out every week. As a result, they needed someone to remove the old ad signs from the plastic protective sleeves. Elby did this. The Department of Human Services is always looking for volunteers to assist with a variety of clerical duties. Elby was up to the challenge. It took the staff at the Transition Center about a year, but they finally found the perfect job for Elby. At World Class Industries, they needed some parts assembled for John Deere tractors. It's a 3-step assembly process that turned out to be ideal for Elby. Between Chris and Elby, they can crank out several hundred in an hour. Best of all, they love wearing the safety glasses. In his free time, Elby loves to hang out in his room and listen to music. He's a big Michael Jackson fan. He also enjoys playing games like Uno. Elby also has an artistic side to him. At break time, you'll often find him drawing a picture or coloring. Special Olympics has also been an interest of Elby's. During his time there, he's participated in bowling and track and field events. A word of caution, don't sit behind him when you go bowling. You just never know where that ball may go. After graduation, Elby will be attending the ARC Day-Hab program. He really enjoys being out and about in the community, and this is just what the ARC will provide for him. Dad and Elby have toured several group homes. When the right opportunity comes along, Elby will enter that phase of his life. Elby, you've been a delight to have at the Transition Center. We hope you've enjoyed your time here. Good luck in the future, work hard, and come back and visit us sometime. Well, I hope you can see from those speeches the variety of experiences our students are leaving the Transition Center with, and just how much we've enjoyed having them. I'd like our graduates to stand one more time and be recognized. Ready? Okay, you can be seated. Okay, we'd like to have you join us and enjoy a little Transition Center tradition. We're going to let our graduates process out, and then please join us for some cake and punch.